Hi there folks, this is Infected One, and I have taken upon myself to make a tutorial series for Stalker Gamma, with the hope of making it less overwhelming and more accessible to the Stalker enthusiasts. Each episode is going to be focused on a specific subject because of the sheer amount of detail and information. And now before we start this episode, please leave a like and subscribe to this channel for more awesome content. 100 Rads Bar. The best place to have a drink in the whole zone. A place of safety and relaxation for every stalker. Well, if you're friendly with Duty faction, that is. I chose freedom, so my visits to 100 Rads Bar look a bit different.
Канай его! Пизда, ты понял, блядь? Да сдохни до того мужчина! Тебе пизда, ты понял, блядь?
But it doesn't have to be this way, because Stalker Anomaly introduced the disguise system, and on this Stalker Gamma Noob Guide episode we will learn all about it. So let's dive in. Disguising gives you the ability to blend in with an enemy faction, or non-enemy, but that's kinda weird, while keeping your identity hidden. Plenty of reasons to do that as well, except drinking 100 Rads beer. You can do assassination missions deep behind enemy lines. You can act as a traitor of an enemy faction. You can get a stash which is located in an enemy base. Or even trying to gain some more quests cause you're down bad. So firstly we need to acknowledge that like almost every aspect of Stalker Gamma, the disguise system is configurable to fit your own preferences. So going to the settings, gameplay disguise, you can see it's enabled by default. Also all my settings are on default at the moment, but you can customize almost everything. A very brief explanation how the settings work is basically a consideration an AI takes, observing the player, and how much do they suspect concerning that thing. So for example, we have consider player weapon. You can toggle this on and then you can decide how much suspicion will it raise. Less suspicion or more suspicion. And it also says what it means. Every toggled one says what it means. We're not gonna go through everything, but just so you know, you can make it either harder to get recognized or easier to get recognized. I usually just keep the settings on default because it feels pretty fair. It doesn't feel too OP, so I'm not touching anything. But if you feel like this is too easy, you can make it harder. If you think it's too hard, you can make it easier. And now, after you've decided how you want this to work, you are ready for your first disguise. Everything that I'm gonna demonstrate on the default settings. So all you need is a patch of the faction you're going to infiltrate, a fully repaired armor of the same faction, you can see the emblem next to the armor, knowing which faction it belongs to, and a helmet that covers your face, which is almost every helmet in the game. So just to test shit up, I'm gonna make an armor 95%, 20%, 71%. And the helmets are gonna be fixed fully. In order for you to get disguised properly, you have to put on the uniform of the faction you're trying to infiltrate away from any other stalker, that including your companions, so you can just send Hip to relax. Or wait, watch her go, she's so loyal. Okay, so we are in raw stock, ready to put our outfit on. Now we already have the helmet, we're just gonna take the best armor, put it on, and you're gonna get this notification below. Now as you can see, even the game thinks you're a dutier now because you have like the duty emblem, the red border, and even the duty faction emblem right here. What you want to do now is just play it cool. You want to go about your business, don't linger, do not take out your weapon, do not sprint too much, do not jump around too much. And just like that, you've been through the first obstacle. And as you can see below, it actually has a meter of how much detection you actually got. And now that you're out of sight, you can just jump around, run around, do whatever you want. And then when you see duty people, just chill. When you see anybody, just chill. Because any stalker here thinks you're from duty. And if any stalker thinks you're not duty, everybody will know you're not duty. I think now would be a good time to mention that you cannot disguise yourself as a Sin, a Monolith, or a UniSG faction member. It's mostly because of restriction of lore and also game balancing. It's gonna make the game too easy because you have to fight those guys like non-stop. So yeah, I'm sorry I blew your dream away, but it is what it is. If you wanna play as those factions, just play as those factions. And now after testing the fully repaired armor at 95%, we're gonna try out the 20% armor first and see how this goes. We're gonna try the two other armors, starting with the 20% armor, going to the same blockade and seeing how it goes. It doesn't go very well at all. We get instantly noticed and instantly shot. And now trying with the 71% armor, which is nearly fully repaired. And as you can see, going to the same blockade, we are not getting instantly discovered. It does seem that the suspicion is higher because we get more suspicion bars faster, as opposed to wearing the 95% armor. So the more damaged your armor is, the more suspicion you generate. So keep that armor pristine as much as possible. So as I was saying earlier, when you disguise yourself for everybody. Not only the faction you're infiltrating, you're also fooling other factions. For example, in this clip, you can see that I got snitched on by a random ecologist sitting next to the fire camp. And once somebody knows you're in disguise, everybody knows you're in disguise because there's just a PDA message going on, and then everybody is swarming you. Okay, so another cool thing you can do while disguised, you can take tasks from the factions you're enemy with. And once you generate enough goodwill with that faction after doing a lot of quests, they will actually stop shooting you on sight, even when you're not disguised. Now, I don't know how it works, but it just does. Maybe they just, oh, it's that dude from, oh, he's a freedomer. Oh, but he gave me like 2 dog livers. I totally forget about all my ideologies right now, so I don't know. Just a quick friendly reminder, you want to make as least interaction with anybody face to face. So taking quests, take only from the task board in your PDA. Handing in a quest for the reward, always go to the guy from behind. Never stand in front of anybody's face. Go and talk to the dude from behind and just do I did your quest and run away. Also a quick tip I forgot to mention, put a grenade in your grenade slot because sometimes you're gonna get a grenade as a reward. And if you don't have any weapons in your hands, as you should be running around while disguised, it's gonna equip the grenade you got as a quest reward in your hand and you're gonna get instantly aggroed. So having a grenade in your grenade slot prevents that. Also, if you want to carry out assassinations in style while disguised, you'll have to enable silent kills, which is off by default. Be careful, it might be too easy to do so. It might ruin your fun. Without this enabled, even if nobody sees you shooting the guy, everybody will know you're gonna shoot the guy. Just like this. I also did some testing, like frantically running around, jumping around in front of other NPCs to see how they react and how much suspicion I get. It did seem to raise the suspicion a bit higher than just walking around, but it's still manageable. The moment things really went south is the moment I accidentally bumped into one of the duty faction members. The moment I bumped into that dude, all hell broke loose. They immediately know who I was, and all that jumping from before wasn't even remotely close to raising suspicion. I also tested out sleeping in an enemy's faction base, which is not recommended. I think it works on the same principle as lingering in the same place for too long while exposed to an enemy eyesight. But in the case of Rostock, the bed is nowhere next to any NPC, cause I killed the technician a while back. But that doesn't matter. It seems that if the bed is out of sight and no NPC ever goes there, you should be okay to sleep in that base without getting aggroed. I also tested out switching helmets in front of the enemy, and it seems that if your face is not exposed and you just switch the items, you should be fine. I also teased the enemy by whipping out my gun and taking it back, at the distance of course, to see if it works, and it does generate a bit more aggro, but not a lot. It does generate a bit more suspicion, it feels like, but I think it's very distance based, so if you have your distance, you should be okay whipping out your gun. I just don't suggest you ever do it. And that's about it for our disguise episode. I went over only the default settings, but if you want to make it harder and add more consideration like how much inventory you got, what's your backpack, what's your helmet, you can always toggle it on and decide how much suspicion it's gonna generate. So who are you waiting for? Go out there. Become whatever you wanna be, except those three evil factions. Conquer the universe, become friendly with everybody. Be that guy, and have a great whatever time you're having.